All right, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions, retro series covering the King of the Ring. This is King of the Ring 97. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's jump into it, man. This was, once again, not a full tournament. Matter of fact, it wasn't even a full qualifying. There wasn't even 8 guys, I think, totally in this.
It's like they didn't even care about the tournament. Was like an afterthought at this point.
They really did. I really believe they did. Because here's what's funny about it with the qualifying matches. First off, Ahmed Johnson defeats Triple H by disqualification. Now, the whole thing with that was the storyline with this was Triple H demanded a retry, or he was going to sue the WWE. This is where it started getting stupid with the storylines. So he replaces Vader, who actually I think was hurt at the time, and he defeated Crush. And now Triple H is in the King of the Ring. Jerry Lawler defeated Goldust to get in, and Mankind beat Savio Vega. Not exactly an all-star cast for this one, because now you're down to the final 4 already, and that's your tournament. So it was they were in Providence, Rhode Island for this one. Not exactly a sellout on this one either. It was kind of like the year before with this one.
The business was not good at this point in '97. Even though creatively they were getting better, they hadn't made they didn't make the turn that would show the results in the ratings yet. So they
not yet. Yeah. They were sort of in the Austin era. Shawn Michaels was still looking for a smile.
Yeah.
And with the injury or not, Bret Hart was hurt at this point. You had the Hart Foundation, which was good. Undertaker was the champion. I mean, it was what it was at this point, but it still just wasn't there.
I don't know how you felt, but I never really felt like Undertaker was really the champion. And what I mean by that is I never felt like he was really going to get a run with the belt. I felt he was a placeholder.
I was just going to say that, placeholder for Bret.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. I never felt like this is the guy they're going to run.
He was never in the plans to win it at WrestleMania. No. We've gone over that. It was always supposed to be Bret and Shawn. And then when there was a whole chaos ensued, they finally just figured out, a light bulb went off and said, hey, WrestleMania 13, unlucky 13, put The Undertaker in it. And the fact that he was not main evented in WrestleMania prior to this really was a shock to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you as far as he was just the guy to hold it from March until August or whenever Bret was ready to come back. Because even his challengers weren't top notch. I mean, he did fight Austin. He defended the title against Farouk at this one, which wasn't a bad match, but it wasn't.
But it felt like it didn't. You know what that felt like to me and Dave. Me and Dave had talked about this. It felt like a Monday Night Raw match.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the pay-per-view felt like a Monday Night Raw in some aspects.
Yeah, we'll talk about what we feel about after.
We were promised one great match, and we got something else. We'll get to that in a second. We opened up the pay-per-view opens up the King of the Ring semifinals, which we don't even get round 1, round 2. We're just jumping. It's almost like they didn't want to be bothered anymore.
No.
I mean, at this point, if you're not going to do it right, don't do it.
Yeah, but I guess because it was still called King of the Ring, just like Survivor Series.
Yeah. And somebody was promised this a year earlier, and I guess they had to deliver at this point, which they really didn't, because it didn't do anything. Again, you don't get the title shot. You're not getting anything. I mean, I guess at this point, he got the Intercontinental Championship. That was about it.
Yeah, but he already had it at that point.
Yeah. In any event, you go. First match was Triple H defeating Ahmed Johnson once again. First the qualifier match, they fight each other. Now they're fighting here.
You know what the thing too is the thing about Ahmed. I thought Ahmed was going to win the King of the Ring.
It would have made sense. Actually, for him.
And
his push was kind of still there a little.
Bit.
It hadn't staled yet.
What happened was he got hurt, and that messed up his whole like upward trajectory, and then whatever was going on with him backstage. Yeah. But from what Jim Ross says, he says that they had pretty much lost confidence in him, which is why he didn't win the King of the Ring. They had lost confidence because of the injuries and because of his attitude. So there was kind of like a pivot at some point.
Did you see the article that just came out where he says he
Yeah,
was
no, I
supposed to get
tagged you.
over.
I
Yeah.
tagged you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He was supposed to get over on the Undertaker, and I'm like, I'm not buying that.
I don't know about that
Not
one.
for a second.
I mean, I could see him getting the belt at some point if he had maintained that
Not against the
96.
Undertaker.
No, not well. I mean, mate, never. It's hard to say because think about the direction that character was going in with the whole Kane and Paul Bearer. So I could kind of see him beating Undertaker just under like crazy circumstances where something happens with Paul Bearer or Kane or something. That's why, not just the straight up he beats him, but I mean, who knows? I mean, Ahmed says a lot of things, so you don't really know. But
Ahmed, because I was trying to remember the pay per view. He said that he was supposed to win it at, and it was this year. It was the 1997.
It's the next pay per view.
Okay, yeah, and that was even before King because we still were several months away from him. 4 months actually. When I read that and I made the comment, I'm not buying this BS. I just couldn't see it being he beats him.
Yeah, but
maybe a Bret Hart, as you know,
no, but how's that?
We talk, he could beat Bret Hart. Come on.
Yeah, but what
guy was going to leave the company. He could have beat him.
No, well,
I just didn't see it being Undertaker. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I just couldn't see him beat him.
But again, you gotta look at the circumstances. Like, what if he beat him and like, he was distracted by Paul Bearer and then he hit him from behind or something and
something like that. I can see.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Ahmed was getting a push. Listen,
he was getting the push. Yeah,
he was getting a push. And watching this over recently, Ahmed got a huge pop when he came out to the ring.
He did.
The fans were behind him.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely. I just don't see it being Ahmed versus Bret Hart with Shawn Michaels as the referee at SummerSlam. That I just did not see.
No.
That's where I say I don't see him getting over.
Well, who knows? I mean, who knows? Because sometimes they might have promised him that a while ago, and then things change. You know how you always hear these stories of, oh, they're going in this direction, and then something happens a few months later, and they go in. So it was probably maybe a passing conversation that they told him, oh, we're thinking about putting the belt on you, and he maybe in his mind he was like, oh yeah, I was gonna beat the Undertaker. I mean, how many years ago too? 20, he might not
24. Yeah.
He might not even remember like the exact like details. So
too many headshots.
Maybe.
So. I mean, we covered this. The reason why he wasn't in our Uncrowned Champions episode was because he was unstable. His backstage the politics with him, his work ethic, all the injuries, all of that stuff played into the factor. So again, you take what he said with a grain of salt, and you look at it and go, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I think the way the direction they went for SummerSlam was a lot better than what it could have been. Yeah. Especially with the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels being set up. That was just classic. In any event, Ahmed's out. So now our next one is Mankind and Jerry the King Lawler.
You know what? Was this Chyna's debut? Or was it? Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah, she had just debuted.
Yeah. Because she distracts Ahmed during the match. That's how Triple H beats him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
In this next match, this was WrestleMania worthy. I'm surprised they put it on King of the Ring. Mankind and Jerry Lawler.
Oh, Jesus.
That was a joke.
Somehow Jerry Lawler once again manages to get into the King of the Ring.
He sees himself as the king, but yet this time, he never gets.
He's in the tournament this time. This time he's actually in the tournament.
Yeah, but unfortunately he's out because he's out by submission, mandible claw. 10 minutes 24 seconds, which is actually a lot longer than I thought the match was going to go. I mean that's Mick Foley could have just literally tore him apart.
And this is when Foley's like doing his babyface turn.
Yeah. Where he's starting to kind of come out of the Mankind persona. Because Cactus Jack was coming around once in a while, and then a few months later the Dude Love persona came in. And I don't know about you, but I loved all three of those characters.
Yeah.
The only guy to go into the Rumble 3 times and get eliminated all 3. Nobody else will ever do that unless Bray Wyatt can find a third persona. If he ever comes back, he can do it 3 times.
I mean, that was funny.
So, in any event, now we're set up for the finals, which is a feud between the two of them anyway, Mankind and Triple H. At that point, of course, we all know that years later the feud escalates even further.
Yeah, the match they had later on was way better. That's one of Triple H's better matches. Later on,
I'm glad you said that, and it's recorded. You said Triple H had a good match.
No, it was one of his best matches. That's one of my favorite Triple H matches. I mean, I only have like maybe 1 or 2.
That's all right. I got you to say it.
Yeah. So
just don't say Jeff Jarrett's an all-star or something. I was start getting scared.
Thank God he's not on this one.
Oh, seriously. In any event, our next match on the card was Goldust versus Crush, which
this was a stinker.
Was definitely
this was a real stinker, and it's a shame because Goldust is a good wrestler.
He is, and he was coming. He's at this point his career kind of stalled a little bit in '97 because now it's like he was turned fan favorite.
Yeah, they turned him.
But now the personal issues he's got reflected in the ring, and he started not caring. And you could see that when they did the pay-per-view in Calgary, the 5-on-5, which I never understood why he was in that anyway. But you could kind of see it there.
I'm gonna get to that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Watching this, I think it was supposed to be Sid in that match, not Goldust. Because remember, Sid teams up with the Legion of Doom, and I think Sid gets injured. He messes up his back or something.
Yeah, this was unfortunately his last baby. Yeah, I do believe he was.
I think it was supposed to be Sid. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when we get go down the line, when we do the Sid Justice / Sid Vicious episode, I do have mention of in the last final WWE run of what happened to him. So yeah, you were right. So in any event, Goldust beats Crush, two guys that careers are just like don't have a clue where they're going at this point.
Crush was the Nation, right?
At this point, yeah, because
Farouk had just started. I didn't understand what the hell
I didn't understand why him and Savio in it. And then he had a bunch of little midgets running around. PG-13. At least D'Lo Brown was part of it, but then what was it, Clarence Mason?
Clarence Mason was there, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like that until they actually solidified the Nation to what it became. This was just a mess.
Yeah, it was.
But I liked the concept of the Nation. I thought they were a really good faction. So now, from there, the match you just talked about, those Legion of Doom and Psycho Sid versus Owen Hart, the British Bulldog, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And this was a match I actually liked. It went 13 minutes, 37 seconds. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Bulldog, Owen, and Neidhart get the victory.
Yeah,
but it was building up the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I liked that match is because of Owen. I didn't think that the other guys really were that great in that match. I think it was just Owen. Owen was the one that was able to make it.
I think you and I can agree that anytime there's a Hart Foundation match, we're always looking at Owen.
Yeah.
He's the guy to look at.
And he was the IC champion at the time, and Bulldog was the European champion.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him, Austin's career. Never mind. Moving on. So now, and this isn't even the main event. Remember when the King of the Ring final used to be the main event back in the day? Not anymore.
Yeah. Well, that goes to show you how
how bad it's getting.
Yeah.
Third match down from the main event. It's Mankind versus Triple H.
Yep.
And 19 minutes, 26 seconds. And this was, I mean, the match itself was good. And anytime these two got in the ring, whether it be the start of their career or towards the end in 2000 when Mick Foley left, they always had a great match together. And I think that's why they liked working with each other so much, because they had great chemistry in the ring. And there was no doubt that Triple H was going to win this because it was supposed to be a year earlier. It didn't happen, so he gets it the year later. Would he have been my rightful pick to be the king? No. I think, like we said earlier, maybe Ahmed should have gotten it. And then that maybe would have catapulted him into 1998 as possibly being a contender instead of feuding with the Nation for a year and a half, which ruined his career, not to mention putting him in it.
That was never ending.
It was ridiculous. And the constant, you're going down.
Yeah.
I mean, for a year and a half, you're going to feud with the same guy. I mean, enough is enough. I mean, at the beginning, the feud was great.
Yeah, in the beginning it was,
but then it's just nonstop. Every pay
like, okay, enough.
Keep going. I mean, yeah. So, in any event, Triple H is the king of the ring. Long live the king. You get no title shot.
Do you know the story of Triple H that he hated the crown, and he used to like break the crown? Like, I guess right before the King of the Ring, he would break them. They'd have to make new ones, and he was like, "I'm not wearing that. It looks stupid," which makes sense because Stone Cold didn't wear it the year before. So
no, they never put the robe or anything on it.
No, so why?
In fact, I think it was only Bret. Well, Mabel did it, but Bret and Owen actually had the robe and stuff on. Mabel just put the crown on.
Yeah,
so I don't think the robe fit him.
No, probably not. But so, yeah, he hated the crown. So he used to break them. So,
they never referred to him like Bret Hart was never referred to as King Bret. They said King of the Ring winner. Owen Hart was referred to as the King of Hearts, which was a great thing. Mabel it was called King, but King Triple H never was King Hunter, King Helmsley.
I guess it
didn't fit.
I don't think he cared really.
King H.
He had his sights set on bigger things,
Yeah, Stephanie in the title.
Yeah.
But in any event, he's the King of the Ring winner. Now we move on to a match that I actually enjoyed because what it started out to, what it was supposed to be, is not what we got. Originally, what was this? I think a few weeks prior on Monday Night Raw, they signed Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels at King of the Ring, which I was so glad. The one that Shawn was back in the ring, and now we were going to finally get this match.
Do you remember the stipulation? Do you remember the stipulation? Bret had to beat him in 10 minutes, otherwise he had to leave the company.
He was doing a lot of stipulations like that in 1997, especially like in SummerSlam. If I don't win the title, I won't wrestle
10 minutes
on U.S. soil.
He had to beat him in 10 minutes.
There was no way he was going to beat him in 10 minutes, even if they had.
I'm curious to see what would have happened, but even before it was supposed to happen at WrestleMania 13, and then Shawn,
exactly.
Shawn got hurt.
We've covered that extensively. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So
whether the injury was that legit or not, I believe there was one there, but I don't think it was as bad as he said.
And then the irony is, then Bret hurts his knee, and then Bret can't wrestle at King of the Ring.
I think honestly, I think that was legit.
No, it was. It was.
It wasn't like Shawn's. I think his.
No. His knee was messed up. He had been abusing his body for years, so it wasn't. Eventually he was going to get hurt. But do you remember the thing? Do you remember the skit with Pillman earlier in the night when Stone Cold caught him backstage and put his head into the toilet?
I love that skit.
That was funny, man. That was cool.
He's like, "I'm gonna flush you, you piece of trash."
Yep.
Oh my god.
He said, "You've always been a loser," or something like that. He said something to that effect. Yeah.
Oh man, that was classic. I love that skit that Austin did with him. But so now you get Bret is out of the match. So they decide to Bret replaces himself with Austin. Now, I think it was a week or two prior to this match, Austin and Shawn beat Owen and the Bulldog for the tag team titles. And now they're the tag team champions, and now they're going to King of the Ring to face each other, and they hold the belts, which this was funny. I mean, how many times have they done this since then? I mean, this was the first constant thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the first time.
And so Shawn Michaels versus Steve Austin. Who knew that this would be a WrestleMania preview for the next year?
Mm.
I mean, I really did like this match. It was 22 minutes, 29 seconds. Even though there wasn't a decisive winner, which I really don't think they wanted one. I think they just wanted to see what the two of them could do in the ring together and whatever. And it ends in a double disqualification. And I love when they finally do it, and Shawn just looks at Austin, looks at the thing, just says, let's get out of here.
Yeah. And, this is one of the few matches that's a double DQ or whatever, like a schma, just the ending with no winner that it actually worked because it was a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally when you have those finishes, they're not good matches. But both of them, they did the thing, and the thing about this was Shawn's comeback fight off the injury, and Austin wasn't hurt; he was at 100%. This is before the neck injury.
Yeah.
So you got to see what they could actually do. Although Austin gets hurt in this match, there's a spot with Shawn that I don't know if Shawn hits him by accident. Something happens with you can see Austin falls, like his leg gives out. He gets hurt. He get hit in his neck or something like that.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So this was like the beginning of what would eventually happen with Owen, which was just apparently this was an ongoing thing with Austin with the neck because he used to play football. And then wrestling, he had a lot of neck problems, and it kept getting worse. But at least in this match, they were both healthy. Because Austin was a great wrestler before that neck injury. He wasn't just a brawler. People remember him as a brawler. Yeah. If you watch his stuff like this match, he could wrestle.
Yeah.
So it was a really good match. This is kind of a forgotten match because when people think about Austin versus Shawn, they think about WrestleMania. This is the better match, though.
Prior to that, yeah.
This is that from a technical side. This is the better match.
And I didn't understand, like, Shawn was out since January. He comes back for this match, and then he's out again for several more months. Like, I thought it would have been perfect to stick him in that 5-on-5 match when they went to Calgary. And I don't know if he lost his smile again or the injury.
No, they couldn't. They couldn't.
I don't know, because it was then. This was in June, so it was another 4 months. I'm sorry, no, 3 months. But it's in September he got back in the ring again after SummerSlam. But in between matches, and I didn't well, obviously on Monday Night Raw they lost the tag titles back again, but then he took another little hiatus. I just didn't understand it. What was going on.
I forget the timeline off the top of my head, but I remember Shawn and Bret get into that cat fight.
Yeah.
And then they're
that's right around the time.
And then Shawn threatens to quit, and then there's a whole big mess. So I think it might be in between this and SummerSlam is when that mess happens with them. But I don't know the time off the top of my head. So.
But in any event, I think this was the best match on the card.
Mm-hmm.
Between the two of them. Could easily have been the main event.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of the main event, we have The Undertaker defending the WWE Championship against Farouk, a.k.a. Ron Simmons.
Undertaker with Paul Bearer blackmailing him in his corner.
Yes. With the whole, I have your secret.
I have your secret.
Kane's alive! Oh, man. That whole storyline to me was one of the best ones they ever did.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with Paul Bearer, because, I mean, that guy was just a trip. And that whole thing leading up to the Hell in a Cell match was just classic.
You know,
this match I can't say being a classic.
Nah, do you remember the build up to this though too? Do you remember the whole?
A little bit.
It was the whole thing where Farouk was saying he was going to be the first black champion, heavyweight champion in WWF history, and that Undertaker was Great White Hype or Hope or I don't know, something like that. And they went with the whole. I know they were trying to be edgy. So they were just.
I think he said Great White Dope or something.
Something like that. He was
really trying to get under his skin, but
I just didn't understand why they would do that, and then we get the result that we got.
Yeah, which was a 13-minute, 43-second match. Undertaker defeating Farouk.
Yeah.
In the match, and that's pretty much Farouk's only WWE title shot.
Right.
Which I always believed that he should have had. Maybe not a run, but at least more than one opportunity at it. I mean, the guy's a former WCW champion. He held the title with pride, and he was a great champion. I liked him when he had that run in WCW.
It was Ron Simmons,
So I don't understand why, one, the changing of the name, that's just Vincent and putting his moniker on you, and two, why he didn't get a bigger push than what he did. It was a one and done.
I'm just saying, if you were going to do all of that, they should just put the belt on him. Even if it's only for one pay-per-view, they should just put the belt on him.
I mean, there could have been a bunch of short-lived champions through '97 leading to Shawn being the champion regardless.
And then it's just And then do you remember the ending? What happens at the end with Farouk is out there and he's laid out, and then Paul Bearer is ordering him to continue to beat him up, and then Ahmed Johnson runs to the ring, which I'm like, why the hell is Ahmed coming out to save him? This doesn't even make any sense. And then Ahmed screaming at him, think, man, think. And then Paul Bearer is yelling at Undertaker, and then Undertaker swings at Ahmed, and then Ahmed Pearl River plunges him and just leaves him lying in the middle of the ring.
That was the start of what they were going to do.
Right, because they're going to fight at the next pay-per-view. But the thing was, the fans didn't like that. Mm-mm. I don't think they got the reaction that they were looking for, because the fans were kind of booing Ahmed when he did that.
Well, because it's The Undertaker.
Because it's The Undertaker, yeah. Even though what he did was right, I guess.
But this is the guy, and the fans are going to be on Taker's side regardless of what he does.
After they were cheering the hell out of Ahmed earlier in the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Well, you came out, and now it's face versus face, but you're coming off as a heel almost because you're defending the heel. You know, don't do it, this and that, and then so.
Why would he say Farouk?
That's the thing I don't understand with this whole storyline.
He's a human being. He's yelling. He's a human being. Like, oh, it was stupid. I didn't like the ending. And then I don't even remember when the hell Ahmed joins the Nation. Is it 97 or is it 98?
It was the end of 97. And then around the same time, he's out of it because at the Rumble.
It was like a week or two.
at the Rumble, he's still feuding with them. Only now he's back to being himself, and at this point,
So
nobody cares.
Okay, so this doesn't make even more sense.
No,
because had he joined the Nation right after, then it would have made sense. But if he doesn't join,
came in what was it, 95, 96,
somewhere around there,
and that's pretty much when the feud started with Ahmed.
Yeah,
and so now we're almost into a year of it already.
Although Ahmed was out for a while because of the injury, but still,
then he was in the Nation for like a cup of coffee, and then they pulled him out, and I guess Vince was like, this was a bad idea. Yeah. You think, Vince? And then you put him back as a fan favorite, and by now the fans are like, yeah, whatever, I don't care, because they didn't boo him or cheer him. And by 1998, he really just looked like crap.
Yeah. So
and the fans just really just did not get on board with him anymore. It was over. By putting him in the Nation and taking him out literally within a month, it ruined it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to mention the feud ruined him too.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was it. That was
this was King of the Ring 1997.
That's all right. It wasn't bad. The Shawn and Austin match, and then Foley and Triple H match kind of saved the card, I think.
I mean, the 6-man tag wasn't bad, but
no, it wasn't. Again, it was all right.
You had an injured Psycho Sid, and again, once we do the Sid Vicious episode down the road, I will go into detail as far as what was going on with him in 1997 and why the periodic disappearances until he finally was left to rehab, because he was out for a year and a half.
Yeah, he was out for
until he finally went back to WCW middle of '99 when he was actually able to wrestle again. So
yeah,
I'll go into detail with that.
All right, so that's our King of the Ring 97 review. Guys, let us know what you think about this King of the Ring, and we'll be doing King of the Ring. Would you continue with the King of the Ring? It's the last one?
Now we're into the heart of the summer. We'll be doing SummerSlam 88, the Mega Powers and the Mega Bucks.
Yeah, so
not to mention Warrior.
There you go.
We got a Warrior match, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care, guys.